Hi again. The Jewish couple, I don't remember their last names, Blossom and Richard. They brought me into their home, their apartment, and they sat me down at a table with a Ouija board. If you don't know what a Ouija board is, it's a piece of cardboard that I wouldn't call it cardboard exactly, but it's a piece of wooden material that's got all the letters of the alphabet on it, and it's got yes up in one corner, no up in another corner, and something called a planchette about the size of the palm of my hand is sitting on little legs with felt at the bottom of them. And if you have psychic power and you place your hands on the edge of the planchette, it will move from one letter to another, spelling out words and sentences. Well, generally you have someone else holding the other end of the planchette. In my case, the planchette began to move very quickly, almost immediately, spelling out sentences and sentences, even paragraphs and pages of material. And in my mind is no thought of what is going to be written. In fact, I'm anxiously looking down at the planchette to see what is being spelled out. We moved from the Ouija board to automatic writing. I would hold either the bottom or the top of the pen. Someone else would hold the other end, and then the pen would begin to write. And the pen would write and would write right across the paper. You'd have to bring your hand back to start it at the beginning of the left-hand side of the paper, or the entity would write past the paper onto the table where you're sitting. Now, this was all new to me. At first, the very first thing that happened was that I was introduced to something called spirit guides. Some may want to call it your guardian spirit, your guardian angel, whatever, but spirit guides. And at first, I was told that my spirit guide was a friend of mine who had once been my secretary, who had died of cancer. Her name was Sophie. So I felt at ease with Sophie. Sophie was somebody that I loved. In fact, Sophie taught me how to drive an automobile way back in the 70s. And so I loved Sophie. And I was happy to be communicating with Sophie again. Now, folks, this is necromancy, or necromancy, however it's pronounced. Necromancy. It is the communication with the dead, and it is forbidden, an abomination in the Bible. But all the occultists are into that. In other words, that those who have passed on are able to communicate through a medium or a channel. I was being developed into becoming a medium. Today they use the term channel to represent the same thing. somebody who allows their entity, their being, their soul to be used by a foreign spirit to communicate to the living. I started out with Sophie. The Richard and Blossom had their own crew of the deceased. I'm remembering one in particular. They called him Mr. V. So Mr. V, I think, was Blossom's father, deceased father. And so my spirit, Sophie, gathered together with Mr. V and some others, and we had a fine little group going on here. Now, they would tell me little things like, "Oh, Pam, the meal you ate last night was just so salty." And they were just all up in everything, all up in my business, all wanting to be involved. They were guiding me from all harm and danger, or so they said. What is my understanding of all of this? First of all, it is not the spirit of the dead that a medium is communicating with. They may think so, but it's not. It is a demon or a fallen angel masquerading the dead, the deceased one, because these spirits and entities know everybody, past, present, and future. And they know the voice. You know, I'm thinking of the movie The Exorcist, when the priest's mother began to use the possessed person, the possessed girl, to communicate to the priest, and she was imitating the voice of his mother, the spirit. I don't want to say she, because I think these are all male. Imitating the voice of the mother. She was going, dear me, and bringing accusation and condemnation on the priest. That was not the spirit of his mother. That was the spirit, a religious fallen angel, a religious demon. That's who that was. All of these people that claim to have these powers, who allow their bodies to be used for this kind of communication, all of it, it is not the spirit of the dead. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord for Christians. To be absent from the body is to be present in hell for all those who are not saved. So the dead are not around us. Now we're told that there is a mighty cloud of witnesses, saints, who are observing us as we go through our trials and tribulations. But they're not looking to communicate with us. There are Christians, these so-called prophets and prophetesses, that are calling in congregate sessions for the spirit of Elijah and the spirit of Jabaz and the spirit of Esther. These people are dead. What you trying to do? Talking about this special anointing of this one and this special anointing of that one. It's nothing. Charismatics are out there into spirit guides. They don't know it, but that's what they're doing. And they're not communicating with the dead. They're communicating with fallen angels. And I'm going to tell you who it is. The spirit of the Antichrist.